Thank you, Guokai, for your introduction. It's my honor to have this opportunity to share some observations regarding China's economy. People around the world always wonder why China has been so slow and indecisive to stimulate the economy in the past 2 years. Besides data issues, the inherent contradictions deeply rooted in its economic management framework, which was first set up in 1994, have played a fundamental role. A clear understanding of these contradictions may contribute to better understanding of the policy choices and constraints. Generally speaking, I think 3 issues shall be noted as following. First of all, due to various structural changes, China's economic fluctuations have generally shifted from a previously easy to hit up, difficult to cool down model before 2008 to an easy to cool down and difficult to hit up model after the global financial crisis. Therefore, before 2008, the main objective of macroeconomic management was to curb economic overheating, with the main means being monetary tightening. However, on the conditions that the economy was easy to cool down, the main objective must be to boost demand. And against this background, monetary easing is less effective and insufficient, and therefore fiscal policy has been forced to play a central role in macroeconomic management. However, due to long-standing historical reasons, China's public finance is highly fragmented, and the central government is very small, whose expenditure is even smaller than the budget deficit, accounting for roughly 14% of total government expenditure. Therefore, most of the administrative functions actually are being performed by local governments. Therefore, when counter-cyclical fiscal policies have to be executed, the central government naturally asks the local governments to do the policy. And here laid down the ground for misalignment of responsibilities and interests, paving possibly the way for the thereafter explosive growth of local government debt levels. Second, after 2008, because of sluggish growth in external demand and continuing rapid urbanization in China, real estate sector became an important driver and a key pillar for expanding aggregate demand. However, due to inherent drawbacks in the business model of property developers, and also some of the drawbacks in the regulatory regime regarding property sector. The real estate sector rapidly evolved into some quasi-financial institutions with the potential to create and expand credit. As real estate prices went up sharply, the regulatory bodies began to take measures to reduce risk exposure of the financial institutions, which forced the real estate industry to seek alternative financing channels, therefore further giving rise to a real estate-centered, highly opaque, highly frictional, and largely unregulated shadow financial system, which created significant loopholes and notable gaps in the highly unified and regulated financial system. Third, from the viewpoint of local governments, budget pressures from economic downturn, the requirements from the central government to do counter-cyclical expansion policies, and the desire of local governments to grow local economy have forced them to seek financing channels besides the more normal channel. At the same time, the rapid urbanization has created stronger demand for land, generating huge land sales revenues. Those factors combined together have spawned a shadow fiscal system centered on land transaction and land mortgage, which rapidly integrated with the real estate-centered shadow financial systems. Therefore, in China, in the years after the global financial crisis, we developed a shadow fiscal system and a shadow financial system, which lie largely beyond the monitoring and supervision of local legislature, the supervision of central government, and as I will mention below, also the supervision and monitoring of the financial market. From the viewpoint of the investors, they generally believe that the central government will ultimately bail out local governments. That's a so-called rigid payment belief, which created huge moral hazard problems and make the monitoring of financial market regarding local government debt and that of real estate sector could not work normally. As a result, since global financial crisis, China's debt level climbed up very rapidly along an unsustainable path to already a very dangerous high level, which alarmed the policymakers and the central government, pushing them to take measures to deleverage. Here, the dilemma emerges. When the economy encounters big headwinds, if the policymakers decide to stimulate the economy, the debt level may shoot up again. If they do nothing, the economy may fall into recession and deflation. Therefore, a systematic solution to reform the shadow fiscal system and shadow financial system must be done to systematically deleverage the economy while also smoothly manage the economy. However, given that the economy now is still struggling to absorb the hangover effects of the burst of the housing bubble and to a less extent the local government fiscal crisis, the task to reform the shadow banking system and the shadow fiscal systems is apparently very daunting and must be very time-consuming. Therefore, the central government is very indecisive to choose to stimulate the economy or to regulate and reform the system now. That's all. Thank you.
Dr. You made some very important remarks about China's growth in the past several years a week ago, which generated a lot of discussion in China and here in the US too. Given what you have said, where do you see China's growth, potential growth actually, in the next few years? How we should think about whether China can grow 5% or 3%, or where the potential growth should be, given the current conditions in China. And Karen, I was a little bit surprised by your scenario. You said 75% on track, 25% stagflation. I would have thought that there may be some risk of overheating, given why you're not mentioning that possibility, why that's not in your scenario analysis. And Zhu He, you said China should cut interest to R-star or even below R-star. So what are we talking about? Where is R-star in China right now, and how much China needs to cut? Give me a number so we have an idea where the policy should be. And David, I guess one question is, you didn't mention in your presentation, is everybody tried to ask Chairman Powell how fiscal policy in the U.S. would affect monetary policy. I guess you have more liberty to discuss that. This also related to this your comparison between Chinese model and U.S. model. Probably you can say a few words on how the Fed should think about fiscal policy, particularly current fiscal policy right now. So I'll stop here, and Dr. Gao.
It's a very tough question because we do not know the true number of China's real growth figure and maybe some other numbers. And we have to trust and rely on the official figures, even though many people speculate and doubt that after the pandemic, those numbers may not be so accurate. And my own speculation is that in the past 2 to 3 years, the real number on average might be around 2%, even though the official number is close to 5%. And if my speculation is correct, I think it might be more reasonable to expect the growth rate between 3 to 4% in the years to come for next 3 to 5 years. But we don't know, and I think the official number will always be around 5%.
Okay, very comforting.